buyers and sellers. Your hosts, Remax Results, Darren Avers.
Mine is not working.
On? Get it on.
Oh, it's on.
Hey folks, welcome back to your Frederick Real Estate Update. I am Darren Ahern, bringing you over 20 years experience in the Maryland and PA region. And I also have with me the man, the myth, the legend from Presidential Bank Mortgage, the man with money all in that vault over there, Mr.
Terry Kernan.
Morning, how we doing?
Good, how are you?
Happy Saturday. We're almost at the end of July. What's up with that?
I don't know. I can't believe it.
I know.
I always say, once I get past 4th of July,
Yeah.
the rest of the summer is just a blink of an eye.
Doof, gone.
It's gone.
Don't you have a birthday in August?
I do.
I thought so.
August 1st.
August 1st, coming up.
Coming Tuesday. Yeah.
All right, everybody's got to wish Terry a big old happy birthday. Yep, he's turning 50 years old. He's doing good. He's on this side of the island.
61.
No way, 61? Oh, he's on that side of the island.
Yes, I am.
I'll meet you.
I'm in the fourth quarter there.
You're in the fourth quarter. All right. I'll meet you there in about 10 years. How's that?
Yeah.
All righty, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, I want to remind everybody we are on Spotify and Apple and all that good stuff. We'll be loading more of those up and everything, but also on WFMD.com in the drop-down menu. You can definitely go back and listen to all of our programs because today is program 316. So we got a whole bunch of them for you, and we are bringing you the latest and greatest information about the news and trends and tips and tricks about the real estate market and with mortgages and all that good stuff. So, all right, Terry, I'm going to do inventory real quickly. Let's get into this quickly. Here we go, because time just flies by. It's like the summertime on here. So, and we got a lot of questions, a lot of ideas and things that people are asking us. So I'm trying to catch up with some of that. All right, 290 active homes was last week. This week, 286.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just flat. It feels like the summer, we're in the summer doldrums. It just feels like in every regard, and I'm going to prove it to you. All right, resales 160 the last week. This week it's 158. Average time on the market last week was 37. This week is 32. Okay. So, yeah, that's that opportunity of those buyers that are not on vacation, that find their dream home and are boom, right into it. Average price, $582. It's down this week, $555. So a little bit of variations of what's come on the market. And obviously the ones that are in there now in the game are a little bit less than what's been coming on more recently. New construction was 130. Now it's 128. Coming soon was 47. Now it is 46 this week, pending on a contract. Was 515 last week, and it's 522 this week with 190. There was 193 new homes under contract last week. This week it's 216. So there's a whole bunch of brand new builds. Those spec homes, they can, and somebody may say, well, why is that? Those numbers don't seem to line up. What happens, Terry, is a lot of these communities will advertise for sale like a spec home, but they'll have like a variation of multiple types of other type of homes that they can also sell or do, or plans or so like that somebody can also, pick and choose from. So that's why that number can sometimes be a little off versus what we're normally used to. So resales 322 down to 306 last 30 days. Before we had 358 this week, 350 homes. So that trend slowing down throughout the summer is what we typically see, and that typically doesn't pick back up until about the end of September and into October. We'll see that change a little bit. Average time in the market was 13 days of those last 30 days of sales, and the average price is $503. So that's laxed down just a tiny bit, but that's adding in townhouses and everything like that as well. So, and the list to sell ratio last week was 101.6, and this one's 101.7. And so therefore, because we have a little bit of a variation of inventory and just having a little bit less, and there's just still that high demand in general, that's why that number is still quite like that. So, and the fact I've told you, a lot of sellers really get it. Very few. One of the things I did want to show because of that is I looked up the homes that are withdrawn or expired in the last 30 days. There were 66. Now, somebody's going to ask, we get this a lot, how in the world can a home not be selling right now? Like, what is that all about?
What do you think about that?
Yeah, 66 homes withdrawn or expired in the last 30 days. I think there's a lot of volatility of people's situations, I'm learning.
Okay.
I've had some people, like, almost like a false start. Like, they thought they were going to do this, and now they're going to do that. I think we've seen more of that this year than I think in my 20 years doing this.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
Because that is an odd number.
Yep.
that it's as high as it is, because when you say withdrawn or expired, that means somebody. How long's the listing generally? 6 months?
No. Well,
Does it have to be?
no, that's a great question. No, there is no golden rule with the time frame that a broker and a seller can agree to on the time of listing a home and putting a home in the market, as we say, listing a home or putting it in the market for sale. 6 months is, in my opinion, doing this 20 years, if I don't have your home under contract in a month or two, we have a massive problem. But if we go back to 2009 and 10, when the average time in the market was not under 30 days or at 30 days or so, and we were seeing the market at 90 or 120 days, okay, yeah, then it makes sense to do 6 months, because it really could take that in general because of the buyer supply and demand. But as of now, the ones that are not, if a home is not selling at all, Terry, it could be a little bit of the condition, because condition has become a little bit more of a factor in, say, the last 6 months, that buyers are really wanting and concerned and demanding of, because of the highest prices we've seen, and the fact that they, as you know, they have less money now than ever to fix up a home, because they are paying the most premium dollar for the most part. So condition could be a little bit of a factor, but at the end of the day, it's just basically value. And it's very, very few sellers are really challenging the values of market right now. I've had almost none. If anything,
what do you mean by that? Challenging?
Challenging, saying, no, I think I can get more.
Okay.
If anything, in the last year, 2 years, I have had more sellers kind of look at me kind of give me a weird nod, like, you really think we can get that much for our home? Are you serious? For real? Yeah. And the funny thing is, I have the data to back it, but it's just, there's so much negative news. There's just so much uneasiness and things that sellers have taken a position over the time to just kind of be like, oh, something's got to give. I mean, and then they hear these prices and the neighbors. And so it's a mixed bag, but at the end of the day, no doubt about it, yes, there are still people that can definitely overprice their home today. And if you haven't gotten an offer in 2-3 weeks, you're definitely overpriced. As far as the other market, Terry, we've not talked about this in a long time, is the bank properties, foreclosure, short sales, auctions, and all them.
What's foreclosure? What's a short, like?
Yeah, foreclosure. So an auction would be, yeah. I know it's...
we haven't heard those words in a long time.
All right, let me go back to Webster's Dictionary. We haven't had to use this term in 12 years. All right, so an REO is, people say, what's an REO? It's a bank. It's basically a bank-owned property. It's a it's a home that went into foreclosure. The bank took it back. It's a non-performing asset on their books. They need to get off their books, and they have the paperwork and all the legal stuff all set up right, and they can now get rid of it. So what happens is an auction would be, we don't see a lot of those, but you can have a real estate auction, and that can be public that can be private, bank owned or public. And then you've got the short sales, which is somebody that owes more than the house is worth, which is about as crazy as to think about today than ever before, because I'm pretty sure about 94 to 95% plus of homeowners have positive equity in their home. And so even if we have 5, 6, 8% of homeowners that have negative equity, most people would ask, how in the world could that possibly ever happen if values have not come down, if they just went flat, which I have an article on. Over 4 or 6 months, they went a little flat, a little down in places, but for the most part, not much at all. And so how could you have negative equity? And of course, that goes back to refinancing. It could be HELOC loans. It could be seconds.
Could be a HELOC that's gone to 100%.
Yep.
And it can also be, because every, like you'll look and if I see a short sale, I'll be like, oh, this is low. I got to check this out. The condition of the property is awful.
Yes.
If in most today's environment, the rare occasions that I see a short sale, it looks like the house needs a lot of work.
Oh, absolutely. So the numbers, when people call, I still get it. Darren, find me this great deal. I'm looking for that needle in a haystack. I'm looking for a flip property, a great deal. Do you have any foreclosures or short sales and distressed property things you can send me? Yeah. Terry, guess how many? Out of 286 active homes for sale, 158 resales. If there was just 10% of that market, would be 15 of them or 16 of them. If it was 5% of the market, that would be 6 of them. Guess how many we have? We have 2 short sales. Yeah, we have 2 short sales for sale in the whole county. 2. I remember when I had 8 under contract in 2009 and 10. Personally, myself, I was working on.
Yeah.
This is what's scary. 2 short sales and 3 foreclosures. We have 5 distressed properties in the entire county, which basically means about 4% of the entire resale market. Now, under normal, that's normal, which is crazy. That's normal. But if we had the normal resale homes of 700 or 800 right now, 10% of it would be 70, and 5% of it, which is a normal market of that typically, would be like having 35 or 40.
Okay.
We have 5 of them. So it's a joke. There's nothing out there for that. It just doesn't exist. And that's that unicorn that rode off, I think, 12 years ago. But anyways. All right, so those are some of the numbers and all that good stuff. So, all right, let's get into this last week. What in the world happened?
So I talked extensively last week about keeping an eye on Wednesday at 2 o'clock. And basically, they decided against my advice, and they raised rates again. And I was talking to a loan officer from another company, a friend. I'm great friends with many, many loan officers all throughout the
We need each other.
We do. And we were chatting, and he said, I think that Powell is going to keep raising the rates incrementally, despite what he says, until people stop buying homes. And I said, that's an interesting take. And he said, there's something that the housing market always rescues the economy, like in 2008, 2009. The housing market put it into, the serious distress. But that's how the economy came out of the distress, was through the real estate market. And so, and it was just an interesting take. I don't think that's going to happen, but I thought it was interesting that he said that he thinks that they look at the real estate market closer than
like car sales, camper sales, personal loans.
Yeah, but they don't make an announcement. But he said nobody's average days on the market 32, multiple contract offers going in. What we saw was rates temporarily dipped when they made the announcement, and then when Chairman Powell talked about, the future and increasing, and then a couple things that kind of geared up was jobless claims were down significantly.
Wow.
Which points to next week's jobless numbers being down, which they keep trying to break the economy, and they can't. The GDP came out, and that's at 2.4%. That's a good number.
Yeah.
Good, and that's a strong number, okay? So in their mindset, they want to break employment, which they can't. They want to push us as close to a recession without getting into a recession, okay? Which is a very, very, very fine line.
Tight roping.
Yeah. And the only way that they feel that they can do it is to raise rates, okay? And that has not worked. So the feeling is that they may do it one more time this year.
Wow.
Which I just don't think that they should. So we'll probably see a skip, and then we'll probably see something in, 12 weeks? So September,
October.
Yeah, we could see another rate hike. But then everybody's saying, well, but by the end of the year, rates are going to be down to 6%. And this is coming from experts. This is coming and this is coming from, like, the experts in our industry, like we get online, we go to a podcast, we go to a meeting, whatever the case, and they're saying, everybody's saying, well, yeah, the National Association of Home Builders and the National Mortgage Bankers Association, and rates are going to be down by 6% at the end of the year. Ladies and gentlemen, rates started to creep down. They were 7.25. Remember, I talked that one day.
The absolute crazy highest,
And then they creep back down. Guess what? They pop back up on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
Thursday and Friday were not good days for the mortgage market. A little bit of panic setting in. So now rates are above 7% again. Getting them to 6%, I always say that rates go up a lot faster than they come down.
Right.
So we are running out of time in 2023. August 1st is 3 days away.
Yep.
We're running out of time for rates to start coming down to 6%. So it's going to have to be this fall, and it's going to have to be quick if people get to that 6%. I think they're going to come down by the end of the year. I truly, truly, truly believe that. But I'm starting to feel that maybe 6% isn't there because the numbers keep coming out that our economy is so strong. They're going to keep raising the rates or keep the rates where they are as long as people are buying things and as long as people are progressing and as long as people are not taking a back seat to everything. Okay? People are still buying. Demand's still high. The attitude that I'm seeing with buyers is, well, yeah, I'm going to go with an adjustable rate, and we'll, like you said, we'll refinance in the next 24 months.
Yep.
So people are still buying. It's the summer lull, but people are still buying. But I just don't know if the rates are going to have the momentum to get down to 6% by January 1.
And that's funny with you say that with everything slowing down, like, you know, with real estate, we have the demand. In fact, one of the numbers, key housing market trends, came out this week. It said, of course, fewer sellers putting their homes on the market right now, and that's the big reason how it's so limited. But year-over-year change of new listings coming into the market nationally was 25.7% down, and month-over-month it was negative 3% more. And so this trend of sellers, and I'm experiencing myself, this built pent-up demand of sellers just waiting with this gridlock of not having a place to go to or trying to still kind of figure out what do I want to do futuristically coming up, is no doubt still being a big part of this. But as far as the economy overall, I took my boys down to Ocean City. Was it last week? I went down just for a fun time. We went to the boat races last Saturday. The hydroplane races where a lot of my friends are racing, and they're asking me, put your Kevlar on there and let's get back in a race boat. I will. I promise you next year I'll be in a race boat again. And but we went down to the beach for the day on Sunday all day, and it was cool because, you know, I went to like the Ocean City, the different restaurant places I know, and some of the people I remember from way back when, and then the Ocean City Gallery I was playing. And the girl there, and I asked, and I said, you know, just curious this year, how's sales going? She's like, oh, it's down a little bit. So whether it was food, no matter what it was I was asking people about, what I learned is that this year's sales are down a little bit. Not catastrophically at all, but they were all saying, yes, we're starting to feel that people are coming for a little bit less time, and they're not just spending quite as much, if you know what I mean. And so that's just because of the cost of life and everything's getting more and more expensive. But as far as back to this and the numbers there on this article, it said among buyers leading to multiple offer scenarios, that number is down month-over-month change. Multiple offer scenarios is down 13.6%. So based on what I'm learning, right now we're probably at about 50-50. I mean, we were at like 7, 8 out of 10 homes for sale. We're getting multiple offers and everything. Now it's basically a 50-50 crapshoot, I'm telling sellers. And these numbers are showing it. Mm-hmm. So you have so that 50-50 strategy, the strategy of how you position yourself, your condition, everything you do, is what is now going to dictate that. So it's moving in the direction, I think everything, like values, I feel have flattened out.
Do you? Okay.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Are we seeing them go up? $350 and under price range, but $350 and above? No, we're starting to really, even with the low inventory, we are still getting back to, I'm noticing the last week or two, places I've kept an eye on for buyers, and I'm getting ready to go show some properties today, that have been on the market 10, 20 days. And I called the agent up, and I had one in Montgomery County when I was away. This last week, a colleague of mine showed 4 homes down in Rockville for me. And 2 out of the 4 homes, I thought for sure we're going to have multiple offers or an offer in place. And guess what both agents said? We're a little confused right now. We don't even have an offer. We had 7 showings, no offers. I don't know if it was just these 2 homes. They're both gorgeous. They're in Rockville. They're in great communities. They're in that
what was the range?
550, 650 range, price range.
and that's a pretty good range.
That's what I'm
in
saying.
Rockville.
That's what I'm saying. We're not talking about,
No,
it's $1 million. Well, it's going to take a little longer or whatever. And no, this is in, like, I would say an average or below average asking price point for Rockville, 20850. So there you go. So I've been putting together these articles and what I'm experiencing in real time. And there's no doubt about it. I think my prediction is going to be true. I think this coming up, even if inventory does not come above 300 or 400, now it would normally make sense. I think we're going to have another period because of interest rates, because of like everything, that I'm not going to be surprised at all that in this fall and into the winter, we see values go up very little month over month. I mean minute. Which brings me, Terry, I want to touch real quick that last article from last week I didn't get to do that basically talked about, it says home prices, are they truly rebounding? And it had showed very Case-Shiller, FHFA, and CoreLogic, which are some of our main companies and places that do all this indexing of values and everything, showed very clearly that back in last July is when we saw in our appraiser, Kenny McLean, had talked about it. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. The numbers for Frederick County, we didn't really see that this is national. We didn't really see that. And it's funny because we didn't as a whole. It was very spotty. But as a whole, it wasn't like that. But as a whole across the country, they're pointing towards that July of last year up until January of this year. Okay. The market was flat or down just a tiny, tiny bit. And since then, for February, March, April, now into May, that we've seen prices now bounce back at about 0.5% per month, which sticks us back into a 6 to maybe 8% appreciation for the year. Which when Kenny said we were already a month ago or more, year to date, 5% up. Right. I was like, holy cow, Frederick County, we are in Montgomery, in our area, we are actually ahead of national numbers by a margin. And I go back to our data because I'm a numbers geek, and we always pretty much have been. We've always fared better. So whatever national numbers there are, we're not hit as hard, and we grow faster as a whole. So,
and that's the proximity to the Beltway.
Yeah, it's absolutely. But I thought that was pretty interesting, though, the homes in Rockville and the fact that my buyers were like, really? We can actually, it's been on the market 5 days, no offers. We can actually sleep on this house and see if we really want it. We haven't heard that in a long time. So it's like, yeah, have a good night's sleep on us.
Let me get back to you.
Yeah, let me get back. And you know what? They really did. It was one of those like, huh. But here's the danger in that, Terry, with trends. What my fear is the same buyers that are experiencing this right now, what happens is it's so quickly because then they forget, wait a minute, the next house or 2 or 3 that pops up that we're interested in going to see, they all might get multiple offers and they now might get outbid because they're like, wait a minute, how did that happen? I thought the market was slowing down. That's the problem, is there's no rhyme or reason between home versus home versus home because we're almost 50-50 with these numbers now, looking at how these multiple offers are. We have to absolutely let our buyers and everybody know what to expect. You can't expect the same thing to happen with each home we look at now at all. Absolutely not.
They're snowflakes. Everyone's different.
There it is. And so we're experiencing that, I think, more now than really we have in the last months and stuff. So, all right, go ahead.
Well, what you're going to see, and I've already seen it with some of the buyers, is if a house has been sitting for 2 weeks and they're kind of jockeying for position and interested in it, the first thing they're questioning is exactly what you said. Why isn't that house have multiple offers?
Yep.
It's really, and it's price related, right? So
must not be a good deal. So
now I'm seeing more people saying, do you think we could go in at a lower price? And I'm always like, that's the realtor's call. But you can offer whatever you want.
Yeah, do whatever you like.
Do what you want. Don't insult. I'm a big believer in don't insult the seller. If it's listed at $450 and your realtor says, hey, we can probably sneak it in at $425, don't go in at $350. If that's an insult. Yeah. But listen to listen to your team that you're working with and basically go off of that. But as soon as they see it on for more than 2 weeks, they're basically questioning how much lower they can offer.
Right. We got about 3 minutes. And so if anybody has any questions, real quick, we got 3 minutes left, 301-694-9363, or you can text it in, and our producer will get it to us right away as well. So here's my thought, Terry. Because of what we're experiencing now in real time, my fear are two things. Number one, the buyers that are buying now, if a home, there's a higher chance that they're going to do that. They're going to want to lowball. They're going to push the envelope to try to lowball as much as possible. It's not like, oh, there's no offers. The house is $500,000. Let's offer like $495 or $490, or maybe 3% in closing and full price. Whatever. No, it's going to be like, now can we get it for $475? Can we come down like $25,000, get that great deal because nobody else has gotten into yours?
And ask for closing costs.
And ask for closing. I think we're going to start to see that become very probable. And the second thing that's going to do it is no doubt the interest rates going higher. So if somebody 2 months ago, 3 months ago could have gotten an interest rate 1/4 or 0.5% less, and now it's 1/4 or 0.5% more today, they are going to be so much more inclined now to want to offer less than a little bit. Like, let's offer a lot less so we can get that same mortgage payment as if we could have gotten it for this price back then. Make sense?
Makes sense. And what I'm seeing, and what I've always seen, is when rates are going up, if you cross over a threshold, and I'm talking a threshold of not 4.5%, but crossing over into the 4s, into the 5s, into the 6s.
Oh, this is big.
Into the 7s.
This is big.
That's when I see slowdowns in demand, because adding that number, 4.25 and 4.5, no big deal. 5 and 7/8 and 6 and 1/4, that's a monster deal.
Yeah.
Because I've crossed into the 6s. So when we're crossed into the 7s now,
this is
I'm
different.
seeing a pushback mentally of rates are too high, and what we're seeing is people that were qualified just 6 months ago at 6.25% aren't qualified today at 7.25%.
Right.
That's pushed them out of the market, and now you can afford a $150,000 home or $250,000, and they're like, well, I can't find anything that way. So,
and that's why I'm telling sellers now that we're going above 7, you need to price your home probably 3 or 4 months backwards where your neighbor sold. All things same. Yeah, you can't really add appreciation right now, and especially if it's flat. So, hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in to your Frederick Real Estate Update. We are here each and every week. Next week, Terry, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the rental market. I've had a lot of questions about it. We're going to tackle that. Take care. Happy buying and selling. Have a great weekend. Thanks, guys.